Hi there and welcome to the ASICS Tech Updates for the front half of 2017, and today we're going to be talking about the new GT3000 version 5. Now let's just remind ourselves about the GT3000 and particularly its uniqueness in the marketplace. Now there's some foot types out there that are relatively, I suppose, hard to fit, and sometimes basically also hard to provide sort of really good footwear that can get them into a better position. A lot of the times they come in with a lot of overuse injuries, basically because when they get to toe off they're in a poor position and other ligaments, tendons and muscles just have to overwork to push themselves forward. So just to remind ourselves, what is this foot type that we're looking for? Now when we think of the GT3000 wearer or user, they commonly have a foot type that is quite hypermobile, particularly in the midfoot and then into the forefoot. So what do I mean? Well, what tends to happen is that when they get into mid stance, instead of their bones starting to pack tightly, closely together so they can push themselves forward, a lot of the times these bones are still loose, still hypermobile, and this continues into toe off. So what essentially happens is that with these bones being incredibly loose and hypermobile, they tend to fall off the platform. So if we view from the rear, if we're looking at a lower limb, foot or gait analysis system, sometimes we call it too many toes sign. We see all their lateral toes, their lesser toes, but we don't see their big toe because essentially they're falling off their big toe and therefore they have poor propulsive power. Ideally we should be tying off between the first and the second digit, but these wearers, they tend to roll off the platform. Sometimes they have things like roll off callus, just really poor propulsive power. So with this sort of wearer or this sort of user, what are we looking for in the GT3000 that maybe makes it different from the GT2000 or the Keanu? Now when we think of a Keanu or a 2000 wearer, we tend to have the posting or the Duomax that we see here on the medial side. We tend to have it just particularly through the midfoot area because that's where they tend to need it. But the 3000 is obviously quite different. This sort of person needs it coming further back, but also further forward past their big toe because they're falling off that platform. So the whole idea of Duomax is to provide a sensory input that the material's harder. Instead of falling off immediately, we want to redirect them laterally and ideally to try and get them toeing off between the first and the second toe so they have better propulsive power. Now with the GT3000 version 5, there is a slight change in the Duomax, and what we've essentially done is we've basically made the Duomax further inside the shoe, but we've brought it further back. Now essentially what this is going to mean is that it's going to basically come into play a lot sooner, particularly for those foot types that land heavily at the rear foot and evert very quickly. So the posting is further back in the shoe and also further in the shoe. And of course, as we continue to move forward, it's past the big toe or the hallux, and again, trying to stop this foot type from falling off the platform. So we see this as a really nice, great addition to the shoe. The other thing with the GT3000 version 5 is we've continued to look at ways that we can improve not only the upper design, but as you know with ASICS, we're trying to improve the fit and the function. So what we've done that we turn around medially is we've particularly looked at the quarter panel. We've taken away the tiger stripes and looked at if we're going to have loose bag of bones or a hypermobile foot type, how can we keep that foot nice and snug, a really nice, sort of secure fit. So we've looked at a paneling here that's not too rigid, not too soft, but gives them that nice sensation that they're quite secure in there and therefore they won't fall off the platform, and it'll just help them get in a better position of when they get into toe off. Particularly these foot types over a period of time, they develop bunions. So little bunion windows are really good as far as a feel and a fit. Really helpful for that runner who's been maybe using the wrong shoe over the years. You've got them into a better shoe, but that bunion's developed. Now you've got that really nice feel and fit that you provide in the shoe. So the GT3000 version 5 will come in a men's 2E, so a nice wider width, but also in a ladies D width. Okay, and I think those are two really important features. Having that wider fitting, particularly this foot type, will help the feel and the fit of the shoe. And last but not least, when we start thinking about two really nice technical features that you can talk to your consumer about is the truss stick and also the heel counter. With the truss stick, a little bit different from the Keanu and the 2000, it has 3 bars that connect from the medial to the lateral side, so really give you that strong structural integrity through the midfoot. And also when we think about the counters, and particularly for this foot type, they land and they evert very quickly. We've got a really nice strong density heel counter that's going to give them that nice feeling of basically secure and nice and support when they basically heel strike. So hopefully you're looking forward to seeing those new updates in the GT3005. It is a unique foot type, it is a unique type of gait, and that's why we see it works best in your stores. First of all, you understand the anatomy, you understand the gait cycle, you understand the different types of foot patterns, and then how this can relate to the feature of the shoe, and just give that runner a far better experience when they run.